And welcome, folks, to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Pastor David. And, folks, we got a great show today. We're running a special today. We're going to take a look at some of the comments that ex-President Barack Obama have made. There's serious claims of treason against him for what he did in the 2020 election regarding the Russian collusion. So, folks, if you ain't got nothing to do, call your friends and let them know. You're listening to Let the Truth Be Told Radio. I'm your host, Pastor David. Y'all come on in. Welcome, folks, to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Pastor David. Thank you. And first, this is, I'm going to have to label this show. This is All Out Wednesday. We have decided to make sure that we pick a topic, and we're going to expound on it today. But first, let me give all praises to God and my Lord and Savior, Yahshua of Nazareth, who made it possible for me to be here, and those who are listening to the show. Blessings to you and welcome. Well, folks, sometimes it's hard when you be right. This whole thing with Barack Obama being treasonous, and I mean, yeah, he did orchestrate the Russian collusion. And just as usual, the Black community suffers. And let me tell you why I say that. See, when Obama became president, the Black community was in a different space. We had been beaten up, thrown around, downtrodden. The Black family structure was down. It was going down quick. Economics in the Black community was fleeing. Drugs was there. No real male mentors to our young men. The streets was running with red blood. I'm telling you, the Black community was tore up. So all of a sudden, up pops Barry Soweto. And if you don't know who Barry Soweto is, that's Barack Obama, see? The plan never was for Obama to come and be the savior to the Black community. But Obama knew that if he was going to get elected president, he had to deceive the Black community one more time, because Black people was at the end of the rope. They were hoping that Obama would come and he would help deliver the Black community to stability. So Black people was waiting for the first Black president. So rose in Barry Soweto with the AKA Barack Obama. Barack Obama knew the condition of the Black community. Barack Obama knew that the black community was waiting for that black president to come and step up and help the black community rise up out the ashes and find equality in America. The black community thought that Barack Obama would come, and because he was like us, that he would make sure that we would get reparations for all the past sinful deeds that this country did to black people. Everybody was deceived because they thought Barack Obama was going to come and make America pay up its dues for slavery. But Barack Obama knew that he had to play a part. He knew that black people, if they knew who he was and his real agenda, never would have voted for him. You would have been hearing black people talking about get a rope. And so he became an actor. He became a chameleon of faces. He told black people whatever that they wanted to hear. He made black people think that he was going to be Jesus Christ, the Savior that was going to save our community. Educated blacks fell for it. They thought Obama was going to be the knight in shining armor to take the black community to the next level. Grassroots black people fell for it. People's sons and daughters who picked and chopped cotton and experienced slavery firsthand marveled at the fact that we got our first black president. But all along, Barack Obama was sitting back laughing, saying, they don't know what I'm here for. And black people, we found out what he was here for. Barack Obama is an antichrist. Barack Obama accepted homosexuality early in his life, and it went on through his career. But he had to keep fooling people. He had to keep lying. He had to keep living a lie because his whole mission was to promote the Sodomites who were destroyed by God in Sodom and Gomorrah. Barack Obama was the Trojan horse that was sent in our community to promote abortion, to promote homosexuality, to promote transgenderism, all the things against God. Barack Obama did. That there's an old saying, that's what's done in the dark will come to light. Well, Barack Obama, I knew you personally. When I realized who you really was, I tried to warn the people. And guess what? Black people, you had Stockholm Syndrome. You refused to believe that Barack Obama, he did nothing for black people. He didn't increase our economy. He didn't make our schools safe. He didn't protect the black family no kind of way because he was there to destroy it. And so now, black people, here we are at the precipice of being completely destroyed. Our young men have lost the identity of being men. Our women have lost their identity to be women. And now there are pronouns and other things that I won't say that should not be. Barack Obama became the enemy of God through the same-sex marriage. Black people didn't pick up on it because they were so looking for a champion to save us. And a lot of them didn't care because they thought Barack Obama was going to uplift the black community. And here we are, 8 years of Obama, of him hiding and lying and making black people think he was going to do something and never did nothing. After his 8 years, he blamed and told everybody, well, my hands was tied. They wouldn't let me do nothing. Y'all know I would have did something. So y'all keep voting for the Democrats. And because I did do something, I put people in place to change the culture of this country. That's what he did. He invaded our schools with homosexuality. He invaded our government and our army and made it weak because you had homosexuals in the army getting operations to become something unnatural. He set a culture against us. He used COVID, and I kept telling people, COVID, covert. He used COVID as a smoke screen to put people in places and to create the laws that he wanted to promote the new third world order of manufactured human beings, which was known as transgenders. Y'all saw it. We experienced it. We coming away from under it right now. 4 years of Joe Biden with this transgender crap, destroying the minds of our young men and our women, making them think that it's okay to have sex with the same kind. Invaded our schools with this crap. And now the American people don't know what to do since President Trump got into office. So today we're going to explore Barry Soweto, AKA Barack Obama. And in saying that, let me bring in my co-host. What's up, Doc?
Hey, how you doing?
What's up, Dre?
How you guys doing?
Well, guys, since y'all been with me, y'all know, and y'all gotta admit, I've been saying it was Barack Obama a long time with the hidden agenda with the gays, and this whole thing was what he was trying to manufacture. What's y'all thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it's all coming out, but I think people still, to your point, have Stockholm syndrome. They really don't want to admit what it is. They don't want to see it, but it's so blatant. But this is what Satan does, right? Mm-hmm. He will sell you a lie, and it is really, truly up to you to see it for the lie that it is. So it's going to be interesting to see what type of rift this causes within the Black community, white communities, the gay community themselves, right? It's going to be interesting to see how this all fleshes itself out.
Your thoughts, Dre?
So I remember, the newspaper clippings when this guy became president for the first time, and how excited I was and the community was. And I think you really hit it on the head with your soliloquy and opening statement. Everything that's done in the dark will come to the light.
Yes.
And that has happened, and we're seeing it. But I think, going back to your other point, people haven't seen the results from what he's been doing, and now he's starting to tell on himself. Yeah. So it's blatant. He doesn't care. He doesn't care who knows. He's just dropping the hints. And of course, this is not a topic that Numbers USA touches, but as you have made it abundantly clear, it is a big topic in the media, and you've expressed that it's out there now, and people need to be aware of it.
Yes, and that's the reason why, I was up early this morning, and I was on the John Anthony show, Answers Detroit, and I had not really did a lot of research on it. And, we was talking about this whole thing about the Black community and how we've been deceived so many times. Politicians have come to us and they've used the Black community to get into office, and then their whole agenda changed. And it was never about us. In my community, as a Black man, I grew up on a plantation. And see, this is what I'm trying to tell people today. If our children saw what my parents went through, picking and chopping cotton, every time white folks came around, they had to put their head down and couldn't make eye contact with white people. If the generations knew the sacrifices that my parents made, that we made as parents ourselves to uplift the Black community, they wouldn't be killing each other. They wouldn't be running around doing nothing. They would be thinking about how could we take our community as a unit to the next level, because they got kids. The Black community now doesn't even have a future. What future do we have for our children? We don't own nothing in America. Our children don't even have the mental capacity to maintain anything. And it shows from the fact that parents left buildings and businesses to black kids, and they didn't even know how to run them, nor did they even know the process that you have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
See, so what do black people have? We have been put into a situation to where everybody else in our community getting rich. The Arabs, the Chinese, you name it, everybody, the migrants who came, they got rich off our taxpayer dollars. So when will the black community wake up and understand that the enemy is within us? Because now look at us. We're the laughing stock of the world. Every other race and ethnic group have prospered, except us, black people. It is high time we quit waiting for one savior. It's the Yahshua in you that's gonna save us. We have to stop this, because it only goes to show. We're gonna get into this whole thing, but this whole thing with Barack Obama, he was a major deceiver. And I say to the black community, we're gonna stand strong. Now that we know who Barry Soweto is, AKA Barack Obama, to our educated people. Y'all got food. Y'all thought that he was gonna help us. He didn't help us. To the grassroots people, y'all thought that he was gonna be the savior. Y'all pastors out there who got in bed with him, who stood with him, who never questioned him. Look what he did to our community. And you are not a pastor, and you are not a man of God if you condone homosexuality. That's the most powerful thing that it is. We are men and women of God. We're supposed to uphold righteousness. And you can't uphold righteousness if you think that it's okay to support a man that's gay and he telling your children and our future children, well, it's okay to be gay now. I'm Barack Obama, and I'm going to be gay, and then y'all know it, and then y'all need to bring y'all children in. We didn't sign on for this, black people. We are a whole lot better than this. If our ancestors are rolling in their graves to know now that we are descendants of kings and queens, and we acting like bees and hoes. We're not stepping up to the plate to be proud parents. We're not seeking economics for ourselves. We've fallen down, and we're getting kicked on by everybody. So let's get into this first clip. Let me set this up. See, folks, in 2016, President Trump got into office. He knew once he switched over from being a Democrat that he was going to be attacked. And so it was a coup that was set up against him. Now, just like they tried to take his life twice, the Democratic Party set a coup up to try to destroy him and make the American people think that Trump was colluding with the Russians. Barack Obama, the president going out at the time, set it all up. It's all documented. See, we can't keep looking the other way. Everything is documented. So when you hear Trump say he should be tried for treason, he is going to be tried for treason because they got the documents to prove it. So it was never about the documents that they got after Trump about. It was about the documents that they were trying to hide from Trump so that he couldn't bring it out and show the world what the Democratic Party was doing. Let me play this clip and we'll get started on this.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is Ingram Mangle from Washington tonight. As always, thank you for spending time with us. The real colluders. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Well, as usual, Trump was right.
They spied on my campaign.
Well, there's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie,
let me say this. Now, wait a minute.
It's laughable. I'm sorry. 60 Minutes is laughable.
But wait a minute. To the American people in page across the country, pay close attention to what's happening here. this woman knows like hell that they're guilty and knows exactly what they're doing, because most of the mainstream media is full of homosexuals. They're full of sodomites. They knew the plan was to turn this country around with the culture, and they all playing against Trump. All right, let's finish, guys.
Spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally
that.
verified.
No.
We can't verify it because we don't want to verify it. The 60 Minutes stopwatch broke again. Now, as usual, the media were covering for the Democrats, as they always do. Leslie Stahl and the rest of the corporate media simply took as gospel whatever Obama's henchmen were claiming about Trump and Russian collusion. And it was all a lie. Just a few weeks ago, we learned that CIA Director John Ratcliffe sent a criminal referral letter to FBI Chief Kash Patel regarding former CIA Chief John Brennan and former FBI Director Jim Comey for their actions in the Trump-Russia probe. Now, these potentially include making false statements to Congress. Then the bombshell on Friday from Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, where she released evidence showing that in the months leading up to the November 2016 election, President Obama and top national security staff manufactured and politicized intel to lay the foundation for a year-long coup attempt against President Trump. And Gabbard?
Guys, I want your thoughts on that.
Well, you know, Trump had been saying it for a long time, and everybody was like, no, you're crazy, you're crazy. And he was like, no, this is happening. And even other people came out and they were like, this is happening. No, you're crazy, you're crazy. Now that it's out, I want an apology. I want all them people who said everybody else was crazy. You need to come out and apologize. You just need to man up. You just need to man up and apologize.
Your thoughts, Dre?
Well, now we hear that the denials that are coming out, because at first there was silence, now there's denials. I am interested to see how this plays out, because this will be a major milestone in our history if a president is prosecuted as they believe he will be for the charges that they're calling for, which is treason. So I believe this. I believe if Obama's team thought that he was guilty, that he would already be out of the country in a place where we don't have extradition. So obviously they don't believe that they have the evidence at this point. So if that is the case, we have to see how this develops. And if he's even subpoenaed, that's going to be a telltale sign.
Well, somebody made the suggestion that they needed to take their passports.
Yes.
Or make sure that they couldn't use them.
Yes.
So they could not go to another country. So they, couldn't do the whole extradition thing.
Well, the whole thing is that they thought that they were able to bury these classified documents. Mm-hmm. That's what it was. And they thought that they had sealed the documents to the point where that nobody would find them and that they would just stay in history as a moment that happened the way that they said it happened.
Right.
But to their demise, it didn't happen that way. Once Trump's people got in there, they were able to get these classified documents unclassified, and it all unfolded on paper. Let's make a little more of this show.
On the bones in an interview with our own Maria Bartiromo.
The intelligence community agreed that there was no intelligence that reflected that Russia was trying to hack the election in favor of either candidate. The evidence showed, the intelligence showed that, again, Russia did not have either the intent nor the capability to be able to impact the outcome of the United States election. So it was very striking when we look back again at the documents that I declassified and released that shows there was a shift in early December, the first week of December.
How strange a shift. Now, why was President Obama and his intel staff not satisfied with the assessments about Russia and whether Russia was interfering or not? But then another intel review took place.
Again, another document was produced by the intelligence community, a president's daily brief that was consistent with every other assessment that was done previously leading up to the election. Russia did not, this is after the election now, did not attempt to affect the outcome of the American election. That was never published.
And what happened to that assessment, which again found no.
Okay, guys, your thoughts on it.
Well, because that's what all the narrative was. This was Russia. These weren't bots. Russia collusion. You know, the Russia, as they like to say, Russia. Even Facebook pushed that narrative. All CNN, MSNBC, NBC, CBS. I mean, major outlets were pushing this, that it was Russian involvement, almost to the point where they pushed us, I wouldn't say into war, but into conflict with Russia. It got pretty bad.
Your thoughts, Dre?
Yeah, it did get really bad. And at the time I was hearing all this, I was thinking that he was going to be out by November of the same year, because they were so sure they had so much evidence that would warrant him being just out of office.
Well, it was all a lie. We had some attorneys, Paul Caminera, on my show during that time, and he was saying that the Russians had nothing to do with it, and that this was all made up by the Obama administration to try to make sure that Trump, they was trying to take the election then in 2016.
Yes.
They were trying to steal the election in 2016, but they were unable to. And so this Russian collusion thing was the fright that they had, because coming up to 2020, they knew Trump was going to be the president again because he had the economy and the country going good. And at this point, as I was looking at it, at this point, Barack Obama had already set his 8 years. And in those 8 years, he had already started this homosexual move, this Armageddon. The sodomites were going to take the country. See, when he was in office for those 8 years, he set people in place. That's where the swamp came from. That's why Trump kept saying it's much deeper than he thought, because the collusion was with the news media, CBS, ABC. It wasn't until I went down to the Democratic convention where I saw the abortion truck and people getting abortions outside. But once that I entered inside the news media camp, everything was homosexuals. There was no straight people in ABC or CNN, none of those people. So Obama had already placed those people in place to spin the news as if, you know, that's not it. It's crazy. That's why we never got the truth in the news. And that's why other agencies who were reporting the truth, the major channels that people watch, the news media that people trusted, the NBCs, ABCs, all of them were lying to us. MSNBC, all of them was lying to us to cover up the fact. The real fact was that Barack Obama was trying to institute a third manufactured generation of people. They had colluded with him to do this, and it's showing now. Guys, we're going to play a little bit more of this.
Was done previously leading up to the election. Russia did not, this is after the election now, did not attempt to affect the outcome of the American election. That was never published.
And what happened to that assessment, which again found no Russian involvement in our election? Well, it turns out they didn't like the conclusions the intel agencies had made, so they decided to find new conclusions. Now, Director Gabbard says that hours before the intel would have gone into that presidential daily brief, a senior intel official pulled it, claiming, oh, they received new guidance.
The very next day, this meeting was called, a National Security Council meeting, bringing together all of the senior leaders of President Obama's cabinet, and the topic that was put forward was a sensitive matter. The tasks that came out of that meeting was coming from President Obama directing the intelligence community, then Obama's ODNI director Clapper, to produce a document, to produce an intelligence assessment that detailed not if, but how Moscow affected the outcome of the election that had already occurred, electing Donald Trump to the presidency.
Yeah.
Whoa.
This is what they
Hold
call
on. Now,
a
okay, so
conspiracy, my friend.
Not if, but how. That's huge.
now
That's implication.
just think about this.
Wow. Okay. I'm sorry.
You say that you are this fine, upstanding president, and that you're going to do this for the country, and the country basically suffered under his leadership. Nothing grew under Obama. Everything got worse. Immigration and everybody. Black
Housing.
Lives Matter came along. Everybody, the country was
Taxes
to
went
him.
up.
Everything.
It's bad.
But
It's
the
bad.
thing of it is now, to those black people who watching this show, I hope y'all share the show. This morning I was on The Answer in Detroit, and as I was telling black people what we needed to do, one of the questions in the interview was, Pastor, what do you say to people who think that you're spewing rhetoric about Barack Obama? First, I told them they need to watch my show tonight. And secondly, I told them to go research. Black people don't research. We believe what the media says as the gospel. Even in the Bible, it says, read for yourself to show yourself approved. In other words, if you read the Bible yourself, the pastor can't trick you because you know the word. So black people, stop sitting around talking about, oh, that nigga don't know what he's talking about. Do some research and find out, because if these people are so supposed to help us, why are we in this condition? Your thoughts, Trey?
Well, going back to the rhetoric comment, my whole thing with that is rhetoric, surrounds like talking points. And who's sending you talking points? Like, you've been talking about this stuff for years. And since I've been here, not only have you told me where you found your sources, but you have personal relationships with him and people that are close to him. So for people not to know that you're not spewing out rhetoric, they don't really know your background. And, maybe they'll learn about you. But if they don't know, they need to ask somebody.
That's why I say go do the research, because when he came to Chicago, I met him at an event. The Hip Hop Coalition invited me to speak there, and he was the state senator at the time. And they kept talking about Barack Obama. And I was like, I don't know this cat, I'm from Chicago. So that's where we met. And we started, talking about, he was running for this and running for that.
Sorry, let's stop right there. You don't know this cat. So like, there's another like conspiracy theory that he was a plant, like for nobody to like really know him and for him to just kind of come out of nowhere.
Exactly.
It's just weird.
I had
since
never
you were so well connected.
I'm a Chicagoan, and when I came back on the set home, the guys that was talking about Barack Obama, and I was like, I never heard of it. Where did he come from? And so when we met at the event, and then he started talking to me, I did some research on him. I did the background work on him. I called some of my people at Harvard who knew him. And that's when I started finding out the bad things about him. Because the people that went to school with him at Harvard were saying he was getting high, he was smoking crack, he was dressing up like a woman, he was sleeping with men, and all of those things. When they told me that these were reliable friends of mine that I knew would not lie, when I sort of confronted him about some of the things, that's when he was like, I ain't messing with Dave. I'm gonna get on, because I found out about him. And so that's when I started telling people in Chicago, we got to be careful with this guy, because he's not who he say he is. And his agenda is not about black people, And a lot of the guys and pastors, and they was like, oh no, man, you just jealous of Barack. I'm like, no, man, this guy, even my own father, when I told him about Barack Obama, he had the same attitude, but that's my father, so I couldn't really pound on him. But before he died, when he saw what Barack Obama did, which was nothing for black people, he called me to his deathbed and said, son, I got to apologize. You were right. Barack didn't do shit for black people. You understand? Because it was a rift between us because of that. And so So it's sort of personal for me because I've been telling people this whole time, this man is not who he is. His agenda is not about black people. His agenda is about promoting homosexuality. And people, now that you see it, it's no more hidden in the background of what he done did and how he tried to do it. We need to accept the fact that he is no good for the black community and he should never have any say regarding what black people should be doing. Let's play a little bit more of this. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this.
Entitled to pull out every stop, including, if that was necessary, I guess, manufacture intel in order to stop President Trump. And when Trump questioned them, well, when he hit back, they fell back into their usual line. How dare you? How dare you even think about questioning us? The world is watching.
There is no basis for Mr. Trump to point fingers at the intelligence community. The world is watching now what Mr. Trump says and listening very carefully. If he doesn't have confidence in the intelligence community, what signal does that send to our partners and allies as well as our adversaries?
Well, complicit in all of this, the man who would chair the impeachment inquiry, another fraud, Adam Schiff.
The president-elect has really denigrated the intelligence community, has called their integrity into question, has basically said he doesn't believe the intelligence on Russian hacking.
But the slimiest of all was Barack Obama himself. When he knew the IC had already concluded it was highly unlikely that Russia had interfered in the election, Obama, by omission, still planted the seeds that it had.
Clinton lose because of the hacking?
I'm going to let all the political pundits in this town have a long discussion about what happened in the election. It was a fascinating election, so I'm sure there are going to be a lot of books written about it.
Right then and there, Barack Obama should have.
Okay, guys, y'all thoughts on this?
I mean, should he have shut it down? But he couldn't because he had already sent the memo. You look at the date. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at time stamps.
Mm-hmm.
He already sent the memo instead of if, but how it was done.
Your thoughts, Dre?
He was going to shut it down. He had a vendetta from the beginning.
Yeah.
And, it's personal for him. He hated the fact that
he hated
because
it.
he had the whole setup for Hillary to come in and finish what he was doing.
Right.
Yeah, well, guys, I'm telling you, this whole thing is playing out right now. And the sad thing of it is that, again, President Trump was right. And we need to really understand that. And here's what Trump had to say about it all.
President Trump today calling out former President Obama after DNI Tulsi Gabbard sent a criminal referral to the DOJ related to her claims that Obama-era officials manufactured and politicized intelligence to create the Russia collusion narrative in 2016. Intelligence that those officials have said they had great confidence in.
John Brennan and Jim Comey and I are part of the group that were tasked by President Obama to put together all the reporting we had on the Russian interference, and which we did. And then, of course, on January 6th, we issued our intelligence community assessment documenting the Russian interference, in which we had very high confidence in the evidence that we presented.
Gabbard also teeing up that there will be more declassified documents coming this week. Ahead of that, here's what we've learned so far. December 7th, 2016, the assessment reiterated that Russia did not tamper with election infrastructure. Just one day later, the editor of that assessment canceled the brief, quote, based on new guidance. By December 9th, 2016, Obama convened National Security Council principals and ordered a new assessment. And on January 6, 2017, the new unclassified assessment was released. Obama's office today.
Question. Was that same January 6th?
So when they talked to him, it was December 16th. So that was a week after. That's what I'm saying. Within the timeline, had he not said anything the way he said it. I mean, they can literally use that little piece of evidence where he spoke and said, well, you know, there's going to be many books written about this and all this, that, and the other.
Yes.
Yeah, you were being extremely arrogant.
Yes, he was.
That's when the information changed.
Yes.
That's when I'm like, wow. There was like a whole week before and then almost a month.
And then they sent it up January 6th. Is that the same January 6th of the insurrection?
No. The insurrection didn't happen till 2021.
Man, I'm telling you, man, these guys are horrible in what they're doing. Dre, you want to comment on that? We're going to get a little bit more of this.
We can go on to the next part. You guys cooking.
I'm sorry. I was
following
like watching the
statement.
timeline.
Out of
like,
respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response. But these claims are outrageous enough to merit one. These bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction. Nothing in the document issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes. These findings were affirmed in a 2020 report by the bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee, led by then Chairman Marco Rubio.
Okay, folks, let's talk about that. Okay, so here he is. He responded to the information.
Right.
Now, this is why I say he's arrogant and an idiot at the same time. It's because he knows himself that those documents were manufactured.
Yeah.
He got to know himself that they have them now, that he thought would never be declassified. They got the paperwork now. What strategy do you think he's using by saying this is weak and blah, blah, blah?
Deflection.
They don't have nothing. Go ahead.
It's all it is deflection, because that's all he has. But see, the timeline shows that they had one set of facts and then they were told to basically omit information and rewrite it.
Recreate. Yep.
Okay. And there's a memo with his name on it giving that directive. He
Yes.
can't remove that information, like not ever, because you ordered it.
And see,
Just
the
saying.
trick. Your thoughts, Trey?
This is tricky because the fact that he's coming out and saying this is still ridiculous, knowing that they have evidence, is very hardcore. And I'm wondering if it's just a little bit of confidence because he knows that if he goes down, that there are other people in the cabal that will be going down too. And does the administration have the political will to take down whoever will be coming with him? You know,
Well, they've
because we
already
saw
got
what
people folding.
Go ahead.
Don't they already have people folding?
Yeah, they got people folding already. They have people already coming forth saying, yeah, we did do the wrong thing. Obama orchestrated all of it. They got all the evidence on paper with his handwriting on it for it to be done. So his little goose is cooked there. It really is. And so that's the reason why when we come into the next segment, we're going to talk about why his goose is cooked, because we're going to see why his goose is cooked. We're going to play a little bit more of this, and then we're going to respond to it.
Now, to react is the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Director Gabbard, give me your response to what we heard from former President Obama there. He's saying that none of this makes any sense, that this is a distraction. What do you say to that?
It's the art of deflection coming from former President Obama, as well as his friends who are still in Congress today, and Senator Warner and Congressman Jim Himes, really all basically saying that exact same statement, which doesn't actually address the issue that was revealed in great detail in the over 100 documents that we released last week, in the documents that we will be releasing later this week, that point to the undeniable fact that you laid out in your introduction to this segment, is that the intelligence community had one assessment, that Russia did not have the intent or capability to try to impact the outcome of the U.S. election leading up to Election Day. The same assessment was made after Donald Trump was elected by the American people as president in 2016, defeating Hillary Clinton. And it wasn't until after that pulled President's Daily Brief document that you referenced that the Principals Committee was called in the National Security Council. And President Obama then directed Obama's DNI James Clapper to lead the effort to create this new intelligence community assessment that detailed not if, but how Moscow attempted to influence the outcome of the U.S. election. So this is the thing that I think people should pay attention to, is neither the message from President Obama's office, neither the statements coming from Democrats in Congress today and their friends in the propaganda media. None of them are addressing this fact that there was a shift, a 180-degree shift from the intelligence community's assessment leading up to the election to the one that President Obama directed be produced after Donald Trump won the election, that completely contradicted those assessments that had come previously. The second thing I want to address that's very important, Laura, is that you in the clip that you played, you saw John Brennan, James Clapper, James Comey stated with high confidence this January intelligence community assessment that they drafted at the direction of President Obama. The fact is that they used already discredited information like the Steele dossier. They knew it was discredited at that time, yet they used it as a source for this document that they claim to have high confidence in. They used intelligence that some of these intelligence community professionals rejected previously because of the lack of credibility and the lack of the ability to vet with any kind of confidence whether or not that information or intelligence was accurate and could be used for an assessment. There's a long laundry list of facts and intelligence reporting that directly contradict the statement coming from President Obama's office and those who are trying to deflect away from what actually happened, which was after Donald Trump was elected, led by President Obama, there was an effort to create a document that would serve as a foundation for what would be a years-long coup against President Trump, therefore trying to subvert the will of the American people who sent him to the White House in 2016.
Guys, your thoughts on that, and we're going to shift gears for a minute.
I'm going to let Dre have this one.
Cooked. That's it. That's the take. Cooked. Like we have to see eventually how they're going to like put out this this evidence and actually charge him. But if this is true, he's cooked.
Well, your thoughts. I love your answer, Dre.
I mean, I concur. She laid it out. She was like, look,
yes,
he literally gave a directive to change the information because they set it up so they had a potential not only talking point, but they could say, hey, we have this evidence, but that evidence was manufactured. And that's what the American people didn't know. That is treasonous. And to people, and I was actually talking about treason on my show last week, and I was explaining, it's very difficult to prove unless you have one or two more witnesses that were either implicated or involved or can attest to it, right? So you either witnessed it happening or you were a part of it.
Yes.
And it's very hard to prove because people aren't going to admit to be a part of it, but there were witnesses.
But you know what? The sad thing of it is that they got the documentation.
They have the paper trail.
They got the paper trail.
It's like
having the paper trail, whether you got witnesses or not, the paper trail are the facts.
Exactly.
And so you're right, Dre. He's cooked. And to black people who got the Stockholm Syndrome, if you don't know what Stockholm Syndrome was, Stockholm Syndrome was the Jews had been captive so long in the concentration camps. They started to love their enemies and treat their enemies as if they were their friends. And see, that's what had happened to black people. We allowed Barack Obama to hypnotize us with this Stockholm Syndrome, like he was for us and he was the best thing since I'm the black Jesus for y'all. And look what happened. Look what happened. Look what black people have chose to run the country, and see how he disenfranchised the black community. And saying that this is what's going to happen to Mr. Obama right here. I want y'all to check this out.
For fake news, top this. Donald Trump posting bogus images of Barack Obama being arrested. Feeding a frenzied MAGA narrative, the former president is about to be charged with treason for allegedly manipulating intelligence reports about Russian interference in the 2016 election.
He directed a manufactured piece of intelligence that detailed not if, but how Russia tried to influence the outcome.
Trump's director of national...
Y'all, well, we know that he has some real problems because they don't have to manufacture nothing. They got the evidence to prove on what he did. Y'all last thoughts on that, and then we're going to go into the second segment of the show right quick, and then we're going to get up out of here. Your thoughts on it?
Well, you know, it's a wonderful day, but a sad day at the same time. Because those who had been saying this for the longest time, that there was something wrong and it was manufactured, they're vindicated. The sad part is everybody that championed Barack Obama, they are deceived. You know, and with that comes emotional fallout and downfall, right? And so there's going to be some, you know, political shrapnel that's going to need to be cleaned up, but I think we can get through it.
Your thoughts, Dre?
Our leader is a professional troll, and I love it 100%. This is the same person that prior to the debate between Joe Biden that everybody just noticed when Joe Biden completely fell apart, that he posted a picture of a cat holding a gun. So we have to see how all this plays out, because our president,
he did that. He is a professional troll.
Did that. He did that. Now, the evidence will speak for itself, and we'll see how this all lands. But as Dr. Nichols is saying, this is a sad day. If this evidence is true, this is a sad day because of what the previous president represented to people. And people are going to have to deal with this. And, you know, we could sit up here and tell people that we told them so, but I think that we need to be a little bit understanding, because, like, at the same time, they'll realize, hey, you guys have been saying this all the time. We're going to have to look at other sources for our news. And I think that if we don't troll them and make them feel like, you know, bad for the decisions that they made about who to support, then I think that some of them might come and support this show.
Well, you know, that's the reason why I created this podcast, was because during the time that COVID was out, they were lying so much, and I was researching all the time with my connections at the White House. I mean, all over. I was calling people, finding out the truth about it, and they were telling me the actual truth of what was going on. But the national media was not putting it out. And so I created this podcast to tell the truth about what we were finding and what we saw. And believe me, people was, man, you done lost your mind. Obama wouldn't do this. Obama wouldn't do that. And I kept saying his agenda is not about black people, but his agenda was about the LGBT group. And that was the biggest kickback that I found, you know, even though, and I'm going to say this and we're going to play this segment, even though here in Chicago, there were certain things that happened, and now I'm finna jog some black people memory. Remember when Barack Obama and Michelle Obama was at Jeremiah Wright's church, and they came out into the open and that they said that Michelle and Barack was having marriage counseling by Jeremiah Wright, the pastor of the church. This is what was going on for real behind the counseling. They was getting counseling because Obama got caught in the basement of the church having sex with the choir director, Donald Young. That was the problem. And then he was also having sex with Jeremiah Wright. But to appease the media, they came out as if they was having marital problems like a man and a woman would. But in the meantime, it was about his homosexuality that he was using the church as a ground to find young men. Because when Donald Young decided that he was going to come out about the relationship, he was murdered in his apartment.
Yeah.
Now, I can unequivocally say, because Donald Young's brother worked with an associate of mine, and I heard out of his own mouth, Barack Obama had my brother killed because he was going to tell about the relationship and that he would have lost the presidency.
Wow.
So it's a lot of things Barack Obama has done that is horrible to these families, and Miss Young is still trying to seek justice for this. See, people don't know the bad side of what Barack has done with his drug use, with his homosexual lifestyles. They don't know about that, but it's coming out now. So the Young family is still trying to seek justice from him for that. Secondly, the chef that was found drowned at Martha's Vineyard. The chef is the Tefani Campbell. I know his parents through other people. They're seeking justice right now against Barack Obama because they're saying their son was murdered and put into the lake. There's pictures of Barack Obama with his eye swole up, with his hand cut. All of this is behind the scenes, and now it's all coming out. The American people and patriots across this country, Barack Obama has led a hidden, deplorable life that's un-American. It lacks the culture of God, and that's why he pushed the homosexuality. Well, folks, this is. I'm gonna say this now, and then we're gonna watch this clip. Over the weekend, Mr. Obama and Mike Obama had a podcast show, and they got together and they talked about the Black community. They talked about the responsibilities of a man and a woman and how to raise boys and how to raise girls. Now, this is coming from Barack Obama, who is not even the real father of his kids. But anyway, I'm gonna play a little clip of this, y'all. I'm gonna play it, but I'm telling people, do some research. Don't just sit, pass the line. No, this ain't nothing personal. This is for real. Do some research, and this is why people are able to get away with stuff on us, is because we don't research. Y'all check this out.
By electing you as...
No, that's not the one. Here we go, right here.
And came up to me, and she was so nice. She was like, "Can I have a picture?" Yeah. And then, so you know how you get the side hug, and she's like,
Obama's podcast.
"What did he do?"
And you knew she was gonna say what he did.
He. And I was like,
it wasn't like what happened to him.
That is so
It was like,
terrible.
how'd he mess up?
How'd he mess up? And I said, "Well, what makes you think he messed up? Why couldn't it
Well,
been
why
her?"
did you just say no one messed up?
Well, because I wanted to keep.
Y'all look at how he all crossed up there. Barack crossed up like he a woman laying up there. He ought to be ashamed of himself. But in this interview, Barack Obama stated that young Black males need to have a gay mentor in their lives in case they need to have somebody to talk to. He's saying that every Black male should have a gay person in their lives. This is the type of stuff that I've been talking about and the agenda that he pushed on the American people to try to normalize it.
Conversation going so that I can tell you about it.
Oh, Lord.
This episode is brought to you by Rivian and Chase Home Lending.
Hey, little girl.
Welcome to DC, my brother.
I am so happy to be here once again.
Yeah, it's good to have you in our town. How's it
is.
going? You had a little flight delay.
I had
today.
a little travel issue, but I'm not going to complain because we have been doing this for a little bit now.
I know it's always a little dicey when you have
somebody's got to travel,
Yeah.
and I'm traveling in these streets like a regular person, so I got to be careful. But it's not. So for those of you, it was a little bit of a weather delay.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't fly into DC.
Yeah.
Had to divert our plane to Pittsburgh. I ended up staying in lovely Pittsburgh for about 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I got here in one piece about midnight.
Always grateful.
And I was able to head over to my Airbnb without bothering you. I didn't have to wake you up at 1 in the morning.
We miss having you stay with us, though. You're such a Airbnb.
Folks, I had to step away. But listen, I'm going to get to the place where they're talking about. Go ahead.
Pastor Laurie, I think you need to give the viewers a apology. That show is terrible. That podcast is bad. And while you were gone, it was just playing, and they were talking about his flight being delayed, and it was the worst banter I have ever heard.
Okay, but anyway, I apologize to y'all. I should have got there quicker. But I want to get to the part where he's talking about young men and how young men need to have a gay man in their life to be able to navigate the waters of life. I think that's it. Let's check it out.
The whatever you can think of, the sexism, the biases. So she knew you have to have a mouth. You have to be able to speak up for yourself. With you, she wanted you to be nice so that you wouldn't get in trouble or you wouldn't get arrested. But was that who you were? So what do we say to the Emmas of the world? How do we sort of start thinking as a society about helping mothers raise sons, because they're doing it alone, and we're being told that we don't have what it takes to give boys all of what they need?
Well,
how to raise their son.
I think you started hinting at it. As somebody who was raised by a single mom, not perfectly, but that unconditional love as a start is the right one.
Mm-hmm.
I do think, though, thinking about raising boys in the same way you're thinking about raising daughters, which is how do you make them good, responsible people who know how to function and know how to understand themselves well enough that they can navigate this really complicated world, and setting high expectations. So there are a lot of these things that apply to boys and girls. I do think that there are some particular issues with boys that, as a society, we're not addressing. I do think, as a society, we have to create more structures for boys and men to have guidance, rituals, frameworks, encouragement, to be able to meet a wide range of role models so that whatever their inclinations, they can see a path to success that isn't just sports or money, making a lot of money. And so that's on all of us together. What I would say to Emma would be, in your community, even if you have a wonderful male partner who's in the house, I think it still would be good to find assets in the community, people in the community, friends in your community, places of worship, community organizations, what have you, where there are a bunch of men who can be sort of elders to boys. And so they're not just looking at one particular role model, but many. And one of the things when Michelle and I first started dating and I'd go over to your guys' house, one of the things I loved was just, seeing all your uncles and your cousins. And there were a bunch of different kinds of men.
See, I want to stop it right there for a second. As a boy, why would you, as a man, he's not talking about, he didn't say nothing about no uncles and no aunts. He ain't said nothing about no woman. He just said, I just want to see all the uncles and all the boys. Oh, Dre, I ain't bothering you today. I'm gonna finish with this.
There were men that were kind of soft-spoken, and then there were men that were loud, and there were men who were engineers, and then there were men who were
Police officers.
Police officers, or they drove, a
jitney
cab.
Yeah.
Right?
Look at Big Mike.
That's one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is not just exposure to one guy.
One dad.
One dad. No matter how good the dad
is. He can't be everything.
He can't be everything. And that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
One of the most valuable things I learned as
explain. Can y'all explain that to me? Why would
there are people that don't respect other people's households, and I kind of went through this personally with my bonus son, and he was dating a young lady, and this young lady was being raised predominantly by her mother. Her father was not in the home, and her mother felt the need to tell me how to run my household because she felt that his father and I weren't raising him right. We weren't doing things the way we needed to do, even though she's from a divorced household. She's trying to tell me how to run my household. And that's a problem. When you are trying to tear down somebody else's household, when you are on the outside looking in and you have no idea what happens on the inside of the household, you just assume everything. You're teaching somebody how to be disrespectful. See, it's God, family, then everybody else. Everybody else can't come in your house and tell you how to run your house and worship God. He was wrong. He was out of line.
Yeah, and I think he's missing a critical point that Dr. Nichols brought up. Is like God's first, and his family, then his children.
Well,
and what I find is that what he's talking about, different types of men, like you get those types of things like when the kids are going to school or when they're going to church.
Right.
I'm not like a handy guy, but there are plenty of guys in my church that are handy. So we had somebody coming to the house and fix some things, and my son gets to watch them, interact with them. They're nice enough to allow him to assist them because he's interested in that stuff. He's actually good building stuff and working with his hands. So you don't need someone from the outside looking in to like negate or measure up to how your dad is. Like,
that's what I didn't get.
Yeah.
What do you mean, Barack Obama, that you need another man to tell you how to measure up to your dad?
I guess it's the rituals that he was talking about. What rituals? Like, I guess it's part of the ritual that they have. So
the homosexuality, those are the homosexual rituals that they're talking about. I didn't need no other man to help me raise my kids. My children and my boys didn't need no other man to tell them the type of man that I am. They lived with me every day. They knew who their father was. They respected the way I raised them. So I didn't need another man to come in my house and teach my kids on who I am. That's totally ridiculous. But what he's trying to come and see, this is why I say he's a very deceiving sodomite. He's a deceiving sodomite because I'm going to let you watch a little bit more of this. Then we're going to play the rebuttal of what the community said about Barack. That's why this is special. Go ahead.
Guy I had a gay professor in college at a time when openly gay folks still weren't out of line, who became one of my favorite professors and was a great guy and would call me out when I started saying stuff that was ignorant. You need that to show empathy and kindness. And by the way, you need that person in your friend group so that if you then have a boy who's gay or non-binary or what have you, they have somebody that they can go, okay, I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
Right. So that I think is
wait a minute,
creating that community.
I'm not alone in this.
I have to stop it
You
right
need
there.
a gay man? See, that's pedophilic. That's pedophile mentality. That's a pedophile right there. Right there. Straight up and down. Straight up and down. That's a pedophile right there.
Wait a minute. To the American people and patriots across this country, to black men and black women across this country. This is the same Negro that was all up as the president talking about setting precedent, not for the black community, but setting it up for the gays. And now, all of y'all been talking this crap. Dre, before we even played this, what did I say? I said I called people at the college, at Harvard, who were friends of mine, who told me that Obama was gay. He was dealing with the gay professor. They was wearing clothes. He was giving them money. They was having sex. They was doing drugs. And he just said he had his favorite gay professor. Let's finish this off. Go ahead.
I know it's corny, but that's what they need.
And we talk a lot about what we had with our mother and father, right? And, you know, a lot of times, but we really did have a big community of people in our lives.
Right. Okay, Big Mike.
I mean, that we don't talk a lot about that on this show. We allude to it, but Craig and I, we grew up in a huge community of extended aunts and uncles and cousins and all types of male role models, which helped in broadening out and filling in where our mother and father were limited.
So for Emma, I'm picking up a couple of things. Community, big,
huge,
not just
a single mom,
or mom and dad, but a broad community. And I can appreciate you using our family as an example, but uncles, but not necessarily blood
It doesn't
uncles,
have to be blood.
but men who can who can give a kid or kids some contextualization of who their parents are.
Right. And
That's-
also,
what it
and
means-
can model,
Yeah.
there are a lot of ways to be a responsible, respected, strong man. And you don't have to be rich, and you don't have to be a professional athlete.
And you don't have to go find it on the internet among a group of unclear influences, you know. And this is a thing that parents, Emma has to understand: if her sons aren't getting it, they'll look for it someplace
else.
They are going to look for it because boys need this.
Right.
Whether they think that they're happy playing video.
So I got a question for you, Dre.
Okay.
Do you think that your son need a gay man to come in and counsel with him and tell him that who you are and show him the gay lifestyle if that's inside of him?
Neither one of my sons. I want to be their example, and whoever I expose them to, I trust their example as well. That's a family member, that's a friend, those are men in the church. But at the same time, it all starts with me. And then of course God. It all starts with God, and then I'm a reflection of God. Yes. So I'm his first experience as a earthly father to his heavenly father. So it's my responsibility to imitate God to the best of my ability. So I don't want him imitating anybody else.
Exactly. Your thoughts, Doc?
It's disgusting what they're talking about. Like I said, it's completely pedophilic because even if you're separated from their biological father, that is still their dad. That is their first point of contact, period. You know, my girls, you know, they didn't have the closest relationship with their dad, but I taught them, I was like, you got to respect your dad. You may not like him. You may not like some of the things that he does, but this is your dad. And I wasn't trying to push and put other men before their dad, because that's no. Yeah, I've got uncles, I've got aunts, I've got my dad. You know what I'm saying? They looked up to their grandfather and they called him Opa, but their dad is their first point of contact.
Yes.
Period. And anything beyond that, and I understand that some people are like, oh, it takes a tribe. Well, sometimes the way you put people in a tribe is how they get molested.
Yes.
Just to keep it 100, because not everybody has good intentions about your children, period. You have to be that first point of contact. And this is what we call leasing out your parenting responsibilities.
Yes.
We need to be responsible as parents first. And this is something that I've definitely learned from Gabs, from Affirming Reality. We have to take the responsibility and not, you know, basically cipher it out to other people to do. This is why our children are messed up.
To the American people and patriots across this country, and I want to say this, what we've experienced in the schools with the homosexuality, with them teaching our children about pedophilia, they've been teaching our children the difference between bisexuals, homosexuals, pedophiles. Our children has not even learned math. And the people that are watching this show, parents who have children in the school system in Illinois, now that you watch this show, you can see where the homosexual law came from. Because what Barack Obama is explaining to us is that he's saying this, and we saw it in the schools. It's okay for your children to learn about the gay side and the gay lifestyle. This is what Barack Obama is saying out of his own mouth. The attitude that these people are having on this show is exactly what they enforced into the school system across this country, this type of damn indoctrination.
Yeah.
He's saying it right here. He's showing us in our face. As the president, I indoctrinated all of y'all children. I took math, science, and reading out of the schools to indoctrinate your children to become homosexuals and part of the LGBT group. Well, if you don't do it, you still are forced to learn about it. It was Barack Obama, and I've been telling people, he's the one who created the same sex. He's the one who created this homosexual curriculum, and he and Joe Biden and the Democratic Party was the ones who forced it in our schools, who forced it in our lifestyle, who forced it in our cities, and almost destroyed the Black community, y'all. Let's listen to the rest of this. That's this Antichrist. That's all he is, basically.
Games on their own, and we haven't even talked about how the rise in video games has sort of left kids feeling like, well, this is who I am. I'm alone, or I'm interacting through a game virtually, but I don't have any in real life friends. Kids are going to seek out some kind of community. So big community, I would emphasize, because they need to have other outlets. They have to be able to learn how to be more than just the sport that they care about. Right. And while they get great skills in sports and they learn a whole lot of traits,
teamwork.
It isn't music. It's not language. It's not social art in certain ways. Right. And so I think we owe it to our boys to be very deliberate about saying enough with sports and let's try some other things.
Or at least encouraging them and exposing them to it in a way. Look,
pause that
moment.
You know who says that? People that can't play sports and live in the basement.
Yes.
Okay, because I played sports and I'm a girl, and it was all about communication. It was all about teamwork. It was all about respecting your elders who were your coaches and respecting the team captain who, you know what I'm saying? It was that multi-level respect. The referees, even the crowd, because I was a little bit wild when I played basketball. I'm just saying. When people talk like that, it's because they have a lack of communication skills and they want people to be subservient.
Yes.
And be serfs. That is a serf mentality. See, when you're competitive, you have an alpha mentality. You are extremely like, I am in your face. I will mow you down. Period.
And see that they're saying exactly how they forced this type of lifestyle and culture on the American people, because they forced it into the sports, right? They forced it into the schools. They're only giving the American people, and that's why I wanted people to watch this. They're only telling the American people what they already did to this country to infuse it with the LGBT group and try to tell our athletes, y'all got to be soft. It's okay to be gay. You can be a gay boxer. You can be a gay basketball player. This is the mentality that the Obamas brought to the United States and to the American people and patriots across this country. This just ain't pastor talking. You hear it out of their own mouths, how they tried to set our children up to become homosexuals and pedophiles, at least plant the seed in their head that they might think the thought, then they got somebody to come to live out their fantasies of sin. Let's watch the rest of this, guys, if we can.
I'm sorry. I got a little emotional.
In the community, friends in your community.
Let's see, we passed that one.
Going to seek out some kind of community. So big community. I would emphasize, because they need to have other outlets. They have to be able to learn how to be more than just the sport that they care about. Right. And while they get great skills in sports and they learn a whole lot of traits,
teamwork.
It isn't music. It's not language. It's not social in certain ways. Right. And so I think we owe it to our boys to be very deliberate about saying enough with sports and let's try some other things.
Or at least encouraging them and exposing them to it in a way. Look, sports was scaffolding for me to pull myself into manhood. But even as I was doing that, though, my mom was still dragging me to art museums.
Yeah.
And I was still being taken to, waiting for Godot. I remember my mom took me to a Samuel Beckett play when I was like 12. And I'm kind of sitting there.
It's like, what is this about?
But you know what? I kind of got it after a while. I thought, that's interesting. I mean, it wasn't necessarily the thing I would choose to do, but the fact that I did it meant later when I was 17, 18, all right, there's something there that, may be interesting. So sometimes it's just a matter of, saying to our boys, you being interested in art and you being interested in, theater, that's cool.
I would also,
boys hearing that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Those are good things. So that, and I would tell Emma, don't assume who your son is going to be based on some male stereotypes of what you think he should be.
Right.
Really pay attention to who he's showing you he is.
Right. Young people are more open.
Oh, goodness. I'm sorry. The verbal gymnastics is crazy.
Our boys to be that emotional way as much as
great relationships and friendships. But as a society, we also have to make sure that men don't feel redundant and don't feel as if there's not a place for them. Yeah. And there are entire communities now where the women are more likely to be employed than the men are. And they have more avenues for supporting their families.
Yeah.
And that is something that no matter how much talk you engage in, if guys are feeling left out and not respected, then they're going to act some kind of way, and they're also going to pass that on to their sons. And we're making huge generalizations because in every community there are going to be exceptions.
But before we close this out, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, the person who embodies hope, what is it? What do you see as going right for young people? What are you optimistic about this future generation?
I do think that when we look at Malia and Sasha's generation, Avery's generation, we don't yet know what things are going to be like for Austin and Aaron because they're still on the come up. But I do think this idea of men, there are many different ways of being a good, strong, successful, happy man. I think that's something that young people are more open to and recognize. And so that's promising. And we see it, when we talk to Malia and Sasha and their friends. I think that what we need to do in order to take advantage of that is to as a society, as communities, recognize that this kind of transition from the old models that you and I, Craig, grew up on. Just like you said, you took a lot of good stuff from your dad, but then there were some modifications that just had to be made, either because of blind spots, limits, lack of resource, what have you.
The times.
You know, we joke that, talking to Malia and Sasha, sometimes they go out with their friends and, you know, they're in a group and the guy's got crocodile arms, you know?
Yeah.
It's like...
Not picking up the check.
Not picking up the check. And it's like, okay, you don't have to pick it up all the time. But if you're never picking it up,
right,
that's a problem.
Says something about you.
If you're never opening a door or pulling out a chair, because that's just common courtesy. That's just being kind, right?
So, okay, that's enough. I can't take no more, y'all. Now, to the American people and patriots across this country, now we know the overall idea of homosexuality that was forced into our country and in the schools with our kids. Your thoughts, Doc?
Well, you know, like I said, it was definitely, in my opinion, the verbal Olympics, because they were trying so hard to talk around what they really wanted to say.
Yes.
Outright, right? And when people are talking in code to that degree, I'm like, y'all are really sad human beings. You already have a pedophilic nature. And you really want to just come outright and say it's okay for people to be in a relationship if a 40-year-old wants to be in a relationship with a 5-year-old and be his mentor. That's what you want to say, but you couldn't say it. And that's disgusting, by the way. A young man needs his father. And if he doesn't have his father, let's say his father passed away, where's his grandfather? Right?
Yes.
The men in his family, yes, that's okay, but you still got to be careful with the men in the family because you don't want your son to get molested.
Yes.
And you know, that's a hard thing to say, especially in our community, because we don't want to talk about it. You shouldn't talk of such things, but we have to because they happen. And you need to be a good steward over the human being that God has entrusted you with. And that's just it, period.
Your thoughts, Dre. Now I'm going to play this last clip and y'all going to get y'all thoughts on it.
Okay. Well, the first thing I want to say is that there's no wisdom in this show whatsoever. The verbal Olympics, like you're saying, Dr. Nichols, is just off the charts. I think that if parents are looking at their children, they can tell who they are. And the problem with some parents is they try to force kids into a box, right? And my dad, with his experience, he always told me that he was never going to push us into sports. If we were interested in something, he would allow us to try it, teach us how to do it, right? But these parents are too busy to watch their kids. The cost of everything is so high, everyone's working, and we have all these single parent homes, we have too much immigration, and we have all these problems, and the children are being neglected. And if they take the time to really kind of watch in who they are, I can look at one of my sons and say, okay, well, he's really good at like engineering type stuff. Like he loves to play sports, but I don't think he's going to be an NFL guy. But my youngest son, I don't know what he's going to be. He might be some sort of athlete because like I've seen this guy just like fall down the steps or get kicked in the face and he's like up and at him like nothing happened. And like at an early age, 8 or 9 months, he's like pressing his weight against his sisters and stuff, like trying to dominate him. He's an athlete. You can tell.
Yes, you can see that. Yes.
Right. He's rough and tumbly.
Yeah, he's rough and tumble. And you can tell right away. So it's our parents' fault. Some of it's the economy. I was watching this other show, and they were saying the cost of living is so high, and they did a breakdown of how much it would cost to get like a 2-bedroom apartment. In Virginia, it is $35 an hour to be able to comfortably live in a 2-bedroom apartment. Not many people are making that, even in Northern Virginia. And they said if you're not making that, then you'd have to work 84 hours to be able at minimum wage just to get that per week.
But you know what? this whole talk show is centered around the fact of how they implemented this LGBT mindset on the country. That's what I'm saying. You can see where we got the new laws and why the gays got so strong and so brazen is because they knew that the president was gay and he was going to support their endeavors and put them in places to keep promoting this kind of lifestyle. So this is Barack Obama, especially telling you, who the hell will let Barack Obama talk to their kids now that they see who he really is? But a lot of parents didn't see this. Could you imagine how many kids that he might have molested that was coming to him? Oh, this is the president of the United States. Yeah, here's my number, call me later, whatever. That's what he's talking about. They're talking around the fact they're actually saying the young men need to know about the gay lifestyle. They need to know more about than sports and all the rest of the stuff that men do. They need to know about homosexuality because it might be inside of them. That's what they're saying, basically. But this is what the American people are saying to Barack Obama, then we're going to get out of here.
Apparently, it's hard for you to come to terms with the fact that you are no longer relevant, but you are no longer relevant. You were the biggest hoax that the elites pulled on this country, because we thought that by electing you as the first black president, although according to history, you are not the first black president of this country, but in our lifetime, we thought that by electing the first black president, that we were fulfilling the Martin Luther King, I have a dream, we shall overcome agenda.
Yes.
When we were actually undergoing a different agenda. You pushed your LGBTQIA LMNOP agenda across the globe, okay? You won the Nobel Peace Prize after several wars were started under your administration. And before any of you blacks come on my page talking about how I'm a sellout because I'm not going along with someone that's similar to my skin tone, there was a leader in Africa by the name of Muammar Gaddafi that was working on behalf of Africa and that did a lot for the African people. And even reportedly offered $1 billion some years ago to the Nation of Islam to help black people in our country, but our government would not allow them to receive the money because, of course, they don't give a damn about us. So this leader that did a lot for black people and across the globe was assassinated under or during the Obama administration. Okay. Also, Obama was what's called the deporter in chief. He deported millions of illegal immigrants, although the media doesn't like to bring that up. They only like to dwell on Trump. And he reportedly was behind the cages that those kids were in.
Yep.
Okay. We also remember how he tried to penalize us if we didn't get medical insurance, although they were giving illegal immigrants free medical insurance. So y'all can miss me with this, oh, because you black, I need to think and be for you. No, skin folks does not mean kinfolk, for the final time. And here recently, Obama was on videotape telling Democrats that they needed to get tougher. Okay, you tried to effeminize everything with your policy, sir. Do you want them to be tough or do you want them to be feminine? Make up your mind. And then told them to stop whining when you all were about to put a wino in office if you could have got away with it. Didn't even hold a primary, but was about to put a wino in office. So I would just say by now, Mr. Obama, you need to just go somewhere, please. Go somewhere over the rainbow.
Your thoughts on that, Doc?
She's right. She's not wrong. You know, and it's sad because the Democratic Party is falling apart before our eyes. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They do not have a leader. As she was saying, Barack Obama's all over the place. Be tough. Be feminine. Be this. Be that. Look.
Let's look a little bit more because I want to get more comments from other people.
Fingers are all in the midst of that. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. We got a couple clips to check out. Let's go.
And that's one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is not just exposure to one guy.
One dad.
One dad. No matter how good the dad
is. He can't be everything.
He can't be everything. And then that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
one of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a gay professor in college at a time when openly gay folks still weren't out of line, who became one of my favorite professors and was a great guy and would call me out when I started saying stuff that was ignorant. You need that to show empathy and kindness. And by the way, you need that person in your friend group so that if you then have a boy who's gay or non-binary or what have you, they have somebody that they can go, okay, I'm not alone in this.
Black people, this is your president talking about young boys need a gay man in their life as a mentor. What are we talking about at this point? Seriously. Where are we at in 2025 that the former president, the Black Messiah, can come out on a platform and say, hey, your son needs a gay male as a mentor? I mean, everybody talk about this guy, as being the first gay president because he lit the White House, rainbow colored. And, obviously he implemented gay marriage and things of that nature. He was more pro-gay than he was pro anything else. And that's his business. But black people, are y'all ready to wake up and realize that this person, this individual right here is and was and has been and probably always will be the ultimate psyop? The ultimate psyop. They use this particular guy to push a plethora of agendas that has really been detrimental not only to Black Americans, but to all Americans across the country. Woo!
Yeah.
But hey, again, I'm a firm believer.
Your thoughts, Doc?
Well, he is definitely a progressive's wet dream, right? Because progressive people love him. And there are Black people that literally worship him.
But this is what some of the Black people said. Let me hit you up with that.
Now I'm glad Mr. Obama is taking time out and spending.
Said Mr. and Mr.
the time and doing the podcast together and shit. But I just know I didn't hear Mr. Obama Sr. say what he said. This man had the audacity to say that he believed young men would be a lot better if they had a prideful man in their life. If you know what I mean by prideful, that's just me trying not to get community guidelines. He said a lot of these young men need a prideful man in their lives to expose them to other things that they might have not seen from a regular man.
Right, like pedophilia.
You can't say gay on TikTok?
Yes, exactly.
I don't even think gay was derogatory.
A regular man like they daddy. So they need a prideful man in their life to show them the other side of the world. But what the f is Obama talking about? I'm so sick and tired of him. Your presidency is over. Sit down and stop trying to be relevant. We know what you like. We been knew what you like. We know about you and we know about Mr. and Mr. Obama. We know what you like. So why is you steady trying to force that shit down the throats of our Black American people? Like, what the f is you doing? You are so detrimental to the Black community, and a lot of Black people don't even see it.
Yep.
You steady trying to force that shit down our throat, talking about something. A lot of young men would benefit from having a relationship with a prideful man to show them the other side of the world that they missing, that they won't get from their daddy. Obama, please take 3 seats. Sit down. I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of Mr. and Mr. Obama spewing their doctrines out to the world for the world to see. I don't want to. What the f you talking about? Sit the fuck down, Obama. Sit your ass down. Stop trying to be relevant. Stop trying to push that shit out into our culture. Like, y'all don't see this shit. Y'all love Obama, boy, but look at the shit he steady doing. He for the decline of the Black race. Because everything he talking about ain't increasing the Black race at all. Nope. Man, if you don't sit your ass down, my sons don't need a prideful man in their life. They got a father, a strong Black man.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was the other thing that was.
Now, Doc, what you think about that? See the type of comments that our people are giving to him?
Yeah. And they'll suppress those.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They'll suppress those.
Let's listen to some more of it.
In order to be great, I don't think, my son is really going to need a gay man. That's what my son needs, is a gay man to make sure that he's great. It's very important to me that my son has his father first and foremost. It's important to me that my son sees his father and I love and respect one another, even if we're not romantically involved. Love and respect one another as people and as his parents. It's very important to me that my son has Christ in his heart. It's very important to me that my son is literate, that he has the ability to read and write and verbally communicate. It's very important to me that my son has access to play freely and play outside and run around. It's important to me that my son has access to high quality education. It's important to me that my son sees a reflection of himself around him that is positive, edifying, uplifting. It's important to me that my son has a healthy relationship with food. That's really important to me. It's important to me that my son has family around, people who he can trust, a village of his own. It's important to me that my son has a strong sense of self and the ability to articulate his thoughts and emotions. It's important to me that my son has a passport, a valid passport. I had my first passport at 18 months old. It's important to me that my son has math sense.
Your thoughts, Doc?
Well, and she's not wrong. And she's pointing out the important things. Because for Barack Obama to say what he said, like I said, it's very pedophilic.
Yes, it is.
Pedophilia. That's a pedophilia mindset. To say that you need a man that would take advantage of you, because there are gay men out there that are pedophiles.
Yes.
That want access to young men. So you telling people, that's grooming, by the way.
That's grooming.
Telling people, yeah, this is okay. No, it's not. They live a completely different lifestyle, and that is for adults. Now, it's one thing if an adult decides, okay, this is the kind of relationship I want to have after the age of 18, where I understand the difference between a heterosexual relationship and a homosexual relationship, and I choose to do this. It's another thing to put a child in that type of situation.
Yes, and that's what the Obama administration did. They forced it to the kids, and they forced it to the young kids to make that type of decision on if they wanted to be a boy or a girl. It's ridiculous. And Black people, they did it exactly to our community and have destroyed us. But this is what Black brothers are saying to you, Barack Obama.
What is he talking about? The word need is a strong word, bro. I'm just trying to understand, like, why would Barack Obama say that? Like, what was the point of even saying that? He knows that's not true. No one wants to be forced onto anybody. Gay people don't want to be forced onto nobody. Hi, I'm gay. I need to be in your life. No. Hi, I'm Black. You're white. I need to be in your life. No, that's what? No, you don't. We can talk and be friends, and I can see if I like you, but there's no need for any of that shit. The fuck is this nigga talking about? Like, with Barack Obama, it's like that rule: you're cool till you're not cool no more. And right now, Barack Obama is on his uncool arc. His character arc. He's on the uncool character arc right now. It's fucking crazy. Motherfuckers is out here really just trying to push anti-masculinity. Like, they want every man to just be a feminine product. It's why? A very feminine man, he's not going to go to war.
That's why.
He ain't dying for nobody. He'll be like, fuck that shit. I need to go get my nails done. He's not going to do any of that shit. He's not going to go to war. Masculine men are the one who built this goddamn society. They built America. They go to war and they die in a ditch. I don't understand this massive push to end masculinity in America, in the Western society. Why? I don't know, man.
Your thoughts, Doc?
Well, our men in particular are built differently. A lot of them are taller. Yes. They're stronger. They're more muscular.
Yes.
They're very intelligent.
Legacy system.
And I've always said, if you want to destroy a people, you need to train them how to hate themselves, and they'll ultimately destroy themselves on their own.
Yes.
By propping someone like this up that they believe people will follow and listen to, he is to our detriment, because the his wife, you know, she's a supporter of Margaret Sanger. So on
Yes.
this side of the aisle, it's like, kill your baby even before your baby gets to the planet, because you don't have time for a baby, because you need to be an executive. And then on the other side of the table, you've got somebody saying, hey, your child needs a gay man in their life, especially if they're a boy. So now you're just going to totally destroy a whole generation of future people, because that child's either going to be molested or end up thinking, okay, it's okay for me to be with another man, not a woman, so I'm not going to procreate. So all they are death and destruction. When I see them, that's all I see is death and destruction. I mean, they made a cute video, you know, pointing at each other, talking about, you know, you do this more, you do. And I was like, oh, it was a lighthearted moment. And then I had to remember, I was like, wait a minute. You're all about destroying the Black community specifically. You didn't say anything about whites, Asians, Indians, Latinos, just us. Just us. You're you know what? This is the last dance right here. And we need to push and rail up against this. Wherever they go, they need to be booed out of town. Booed. If you see them coming, if they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so's going to be here, it needs to be an empty Coliseum. They can't even give tickets away. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you know, and that's why I wanted to play this show to the American people and patriots across this country, especially Black Americans. The persons that you held so dearly, Michelle Obama and Barack Obama, to your heart, who you thought that was really a man and woman marriage, and it was not. It was a dysfunctional marriage. They deceived the American people. They became trillionaires off the American people. They activated the gay lifestyle and promoted it, not only in America, but it was forced on people across the world. That was their agenda. To the American people and patriots across this country, especially Black people. Now that you see that Barack Obama never had any intentions to help the Black community, to rebuild the Black community, his own intentions was self-inflicted when he wanted to make sure that other boys who was confused about who they are made sure that they learned about who gay people was and what the gay lifestyle was. All the stuff that we saw that happened with the transgender came from Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. And I think Black people, now that with the covers off, I think that Barack Obama need to sit his ass down somewhere and shut up. Black people have awakening. We're not going to give our sons and daughters over to the LGBT group, Obama. You need to disappear. Because I can tell you this, God don't like ugliness. And your day is coming, because from the way it looks, you're going to end up in prison where you want to be anyway. Your last words, Doc.
Well, you know, to your point, it is a sad day. But at the same time, I'm really glad that everything is coming out the way it's coming out.
Yes.
Because, see, God has great timing.
Yes.
And people are actually a lot more alert these days. They're perceptive, or, you know, their perspective of media is changing. They are researching more, and they're taking a second look at things that are presented to them. So everything that's coming out right now about former President Obama is a good thing. It's a good snowball, because it's undeniable. You can't take it back. Genie's out of the bottle. Toothpaste is out of the tube. It's out of the tube. And you can't put it back. It's out there. And it's gonna, you know, show in time. He is who he is.
It's already showing. Okay, Doc. Yeah. Give me your last words and we out.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us here. And like I always like to say, you know, when you see all these things happening, make sure you look up, for your redemption is drawing near, and definitely check out the USA Redemption Party at usaredemptionparty.com. We are looking for candidates to be servants of the people, not politicians. And we're also looking for people to join the party. So definitely check us out at usaredemptionparty.com.
Folks, and I want to thank you, Doc, for showing up, and we'll be talking soon. Have a great evening. Folks, I want to thank you for tuning in. I wanted to make sure that we know who we're dealing with. I've been saying it for a while now, but for it to come out of his mouth, now that we know who we're dealing with, now we know where LGBT came from, now we know why reading and science and math was taken out to school. It was all at the direction of Barack Obama to change our lives, to destroy our families, and create a whole new manufactured group of people called transgenders, and to destroy the Black community. God bless you. Y'all check it out. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a great evening. And remember, embrace your children. Teach them about history. Teach them about who they are. And teach them that God only made two races, a man and a woman. God bless you. Let's make this country great again. Peace.